Yo. Yes, sir. What's up, guys? Yes. This DJ will kick the floor in 3, 2, 1.
Hello sanibonani ke siyanibingelela emakhaya ngamakhaya siyathemba ukuthi ke ninethezekile nihleli kamnandi nje emakhaya Mr Nomas lo okhuluma nani kamnandi nje ekuhlela khona awufuna ukwazi kodwa kusalayo nje indoda engaziwa Emily ngiyababingelela kabalali wethu I greet you and we are going to talk about a lot of one story. So Emily, greet our people and please subscribe for those who are new and coming across this channel. We obviously do not follow a trend, but we take if something is very interesting. That's this channel. We don't just bring you everything and anything. We bring you the best.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Mzansi Reality YouTube channel. Now today's episode podcast is very different because we're not talking about any reality show, we're talking about real life. Yeah.
It's a reality.
It's a real life story. I went so deep in a rabbit hole today.
Yeah.
I found myself on the Twitter and I just could not believe the stuff that I was finding out about this trending topic. The trending topic was Dr. Nandi. Not the esthetician that YouTubers usually refer to, not that one, another one who's also very famous in her own light. I mean, I remember coming across her Instagram page back in 2020 when Zozibini Tunzi was the Miss South Africa. And then she had just won Miss Universe. And she had put up a post about how she had spent an entire year treating Zozi's skin. And I'm like, okay, black woman. Doing the things, prepared Miss Universe's skin, yeah? For the whole year. I was like, okay, I am following her, But throughout the time of following her and seeing her post, I started to feel the pressure. You know, Mr. Nandipha, when I say pressure, that lady was living the life. She still is. I had to unfollow some time back, but she still is living the life. The luxurious holidays.
Yeah.
Her company, Opium Aesthetics, was one of the sponsors for Miss South Africa. One of the sponsors for the pageant, the number one pageant in South Africa, Miss South Africa.
She was sponsoring
She was sponsoring it. And then on top of that, she's a medical doctor, living the life, the soft life in Sandton. And her Optimum aesthetic clinic used to have celebrities. In Sandton. Her clients were celebrities. If you are on the gram, you would know. And apparently she was an influencer, one of the first few influencers in the country. Back when Instagram wasn't so popular, she was one of the first to be an influencer on Instagram. Apparently there was a time she trended because her husband had bought her a Porsche, a Jaguar, not a Porsche, a Jaguar that had a roof. A roof thingy. So she was big on the Instagram streets.
Okay.
Right now, she has 127,000 followers on Instagram.
Because we follow what has money.
We follow what looks, good. When you see your black person prospering, you are curious. You want to follow that. You want to see, that lifestyle. It's intriguing because, now we don't see that every day. Okay, so when we see it on the gram, we're like, okay, it's possible. It's possible, Mr. Nandipha.
It is. The funny thing, I'm reading some of her comment, of some of her tweets, where she said, a man that is spiritually echoed is very important in conquering whatever challenges that life throws at you. That's very profound. But let's hear what this doctor is all about.
But okay, the story is very interesting. We'll come back to the doctor because the doctor, Dr. Nandipha Gudumana, She's very much close to the story, but we're gonna pause on the doctor. We're gonna tell you about somebody called Thabo Bester. Now, this person was arrested in 2011 and convicted in 2012 for not only forcing himself on women, and we're talking multiple women, we're talking about someone who does this on a serial basis, okay? He forced himself on multiple women, and then on top of that, ended the life of one woman. This was back in 2011, and then he got sentenced in 2012 for life.
So meaning no coming back for him.
And the trial, I remember seeing the clips on the news, because back then I didn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
So the only source I had was the news.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I watched the news on TV or got newspapers and magazines and stuff. So at the time, I wasn't really big on social media. I think I only had a Facebook account. I think that's the only thing I had. Everything else, nope. I didn't know what Instagram was. I didn't know any of that. So on top of that, he got convicted for this crime, right? And what's interesting about the victim whose life he took is that he lured her in a romantic manner.
Yeah.
So what had happened is this lady was a car salesperson at BMW in Cape Town. And that's where they met, because the gentleman was purchasing a car from her. The gentleman, I mean Bester. He was purchasing a car, a BMW from her, where she was working, and then they started chatting, and then the next thing, they started seeing each other. They would chat on the phone. They established a connection, and pretty soon he proposed a holiday at Cape Town. He proposed that they go away for the weekend.
Yeah.
And after they go away for that weekend, apparently that's where he committed the crime. He stabbed her and took her possessions.
Okay.
Took her cell phones, her laptops, her things, and then left her in one of the hotel rooms. And that's how her life ended. And fortunately, she managed to get justice. May her soul rest in peace, because wow. And a lot of people came up with stories, Mr. Anonymous. Many stories came up on Twitter. People were speaking about how they escaped death with this person. He used to use his Facebook account and say that he had a modeling agency, and he would approach all the pretty women that he could find or that were available, and then ask them for a meeting, and then he would further on force himself on them. The lucky ones would survive. The ones who are not so fortunate did not make it.
Yeah.
And one of the victims is Peltusi. Allegedly. There's a Sowetan newspaper where she disclosed that in a statement. I don't think she gave permission for the statement to be published, but they, you know how they do them papers. They got their hands on that statement. And on that statement, Peltusi was talking about how she had him in the same car, Bester, or is it Bester? The Bester guy.
Yeah.
They were in the same car, and she was driving, and she was afraid because now he had turned on her. She remembers begging him not to take her laptop, because her laptop had pictures of her child, her baby. And he said, okay, fine, and ended up taking her BlackBerry and her iPhone. So she says throughout the driving, he also wanted her car.
Okay.
So he was planning on hijacking her. So she was saying...
hijacking Peltus.
Yes. Hey. And then she was saying she was sort of cancelling him. She was driving, but at the same time calming him down. You know, she was speaking to him about he needs to change his life, he needs to change how he does things. This life of crime is not gonna pay. You know
How did they meet?
In the statement, the snippet I got, there's no explanation as to how they met.
Okay.
It seemed like she had picked him up. That's what it seemed like. I'm not sure. It's my opinion.
Along the way?
Yes. Along the way, she was driving and picked him up. Maybe they started talking before on social media.
He must have been a lucky guy to be picked up by two persons.
Maybe they started chatting on social media. I mean,
yeah.
Peltus is not really, let me say, as closed in as most, because I remember there was a time she went on a date with Mr. Smack on Twitter. She tries to be open with people.
Okay.
So, and at that time, she wasn't as famous as she is now.
Yeah.
So you can imagine maybe she was not so guarded.
Okay.
That's my opinion. So
we will accept it.
Yeah, so I feel as she was narrating on the statement,
sure.
I'm remembering the details of the statement, you guys, because hey, I went down this rabbit hole. So when she's saying that she was trying to counsel him and trying to tell him that he should choose to live a better life, Alani was not alone. He was with an actor that we may know, Tumisho Masha.
Yeah.
He was with that actor and they were at his house. And then he said Tumisho Masha looked uncomfortable around Beste. And how did he look uncomfortable? Well, Tumisho Masha turns out he had information on the guy, but he didn't disclose it then at that meeting. So Kabelo Mabalani prayed for him and whatever, and then they left. And then Peltusi says they continued to talk with Beste over the phone. He would call her, they would talk over the phone until he met up with Tumisho Masha again. And then Tumisho Masha was like, do you know this guy is a scammer? This guy is a scammer. He's a big-time scammer. Turns out he wasn't lying because apparently, allegedly, he was arrested prior to 2011.
Yeah.
He was arrested for fraud back then.
This guy.
Guys, this story...
when they say a cat has many lives?
I even saw a lot of people taking Netflix because they felt like this story needs a part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, it has so many layers.
Yeah, it does. It really does. But just a point of clarity, because now there are people who are assuming that they are confusing the doctor we're talking about with Dr. Nandi.
No.
There is Dr. Nandi Diliza, who is not Dr. Nandipha Sekeleni Makudumana, and that's the one that we're talking about.
That's the one we're talking about.
So there's a statement that was released by this doctor: stay away from Dr. Nandi Diliza.
Yes, Dr. Nandi Diliza is saying she's not the Dr. Nandi that's trending now.
No, she's not. She's catching wrong.
She's a bit older.
Yeah, she's catching a wrong fire. She's not supposed to be catching the fire that you guys are giving him. So that's a point of clarity. Please stay away from that poor woman, Gosami. Isbongo sake udiliza. And Bill, I think this is a practice number that she put here, which is MP 02992227, I think. That is not the woman. She even had to give a point of clarity.
Yes, she had to clarify that it's not who you all are talking about. So moving on from Peltusi, she gave the statement in 2021 to the police after maybe she recalled or remembered who the guy was, and she found it fit to help the police with extra information.
Sure.
And when this happened to her, it was in 2011. So it was just before he got arrested.
Okay.
So she was really scared. She was thinking she could have been one of his victims. So yeah, that was then. And then the guy gets convicted.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can have guy friends.
No, you can't. Only way you have a guy friend is you're saying we're only friends. They're hanging out with you in hopes of something else happening. They hang out with you and they circle like buzzards, waiting on a crack in the door, a chink in the armor. Guys are not made that way. Men, you don't hang out with fly chicks to be their friend. You hope you catch them hurting one day and you're there for them. Guys know I'm telling you the truth.
So here's what happened. There's an article that I saw a lot of people were kind of upset that people were reading it and not really narrating. So I'm just going to try and narrate what I could remember. Mr. Anonymous, I don't know whether you have the article or not.
No, I don't. I just have the statement from the brother, Ngosinathi Segelin.
So now comes 2022.
Sure.
It's May.
Sure.
The 5th of May, 2022. Okay? There is a fire happening at the prison where this guy is incarcerated, Bester, in Mangaung, Bloemfontein.
Yeah.
And apparently it's a maximum security prison. Okay? It's one of those where they keep the dangerous ones. Your Ananias Matthes, the ones who do serious crimes are over there. So one of the rooms catches fire.
Sure.
So the police were saying that minutes before the fire broke out in Thabo Bester's prison cell at the Mangaung Correctional Center, CCTV cameras observed people hastily leaving the room. Yeah. This is from a blog called Ground Up. Yeah. They were actually the ones who collected details on the story last year when it broke.
Okay.
So they were like, okay, the police are saying that they saw people hastily leaving the room, right?
All right.
And this Thabo Bester was in solitary confinement.
Alone
In a cell. So the fire breaks out. It burns, and then after the fire is now switched or the fire is stopped.
Yes.
There's a body under the mattress. The body was badly burned beyond recognition.
Sure.
The face, the hands were badly burned, almost into ashes, apparently. Yeah. And then when they go now and check this body, they were quick to assume that it was Thabo Bester. But then after they did the lab tests on the body, they found that the body was 1.49 meters tall.
Okay.
And Thabo Bester had measured at 1.71 meters tall.
Which is taller.
Yeah. And then, here's where our good doctor comes in. Okay. Our good doctor, Dr. Nandipha, went to claim the body that had been burned.
Yeah.
Now, she was claiming this body under the circumstances that she's the customary wife to Thabo Bester. This is 2022, May the 5th.
She's alleged to have claimed that.
She alleged to claim that to the police, tell the police that she was married customarily. He paid lobola for her.
Okay.
Now, the interesting thing about this is that Dr. Nandipha Makudumana is actually a married woman.
Yeah.
There's no record of her being divorced. There are no records of her having gone through a divorce.
Because she was married.
She was married. She still is married to a pediatrician, a doctor by the name Meg Makuduman.
Well, let's say allegedly.
Allegedly.
Let's say maybe we assume
the
because
information is on the internet.
Yeah, we assume because maybe they divorced. I don't know.
It's on the internet. She's still using his surname.
Okay.
She still calls herself Dr. Nandipha Makuduman.
Maybe it's because of the qualification purposes. You can just
No, but you can change it at Home Affairs. And you can still change it at HSPCA. Or you can use double barrel surname. So she hasn't done any of that. She's still Makudumana. And then when they married with Dr. Makudumana in 2013, allegedly. Okay, and they've got 2 kids together.
Okay.
So she was telling the correctional facility that she's married customarily to Bester.
Which
And
is
then
a
the police
contradiction
pulled
of-
the records. The police did what they did. They pulled the records and they found out that she's actually married to someone else. And according
And
to
they did-
civil marriage, you can't be married to 2 men. You can't be married to customarily under someone else.
And they didn't bother to investigate that person?
She just wanted that body. She even went to court. She took the police to court for denying her access to the body because after she moved the body to Soweto, from Mangaung to Soweto in a mortuary, the police intervened now because a woman had come forth claiming to be Thabo Bester's mother. And she fought. Dr. Nandi was like, no, who's this lady? Because Thabo Bester told me everything about how he grew up. Thabo Bester told me that his mother left him and his mother died while he was young, while he was a young boy. And he
Yeah.
was raised by his grandmother.
All right.
Turns out that part was true because the biological or alleged biological mother of Thabo Bester told the police that, yes, I did leave him with my mother while he was very, very young. I abandoned him.
Okay.
But she did not die, allegedly.
And just when you are at that, Emil, I'm looking at this article. It's from, I think it's from, Say World. Dr. Nandipha Kudumana is a South African medical doctor who has been in the news recently due to alleged association with Thabo Bester, also known as the Facebook, that word that I cannot say. The rumors surrounding her personal life have sparked the curiosity and controversy, leading to speculation about her marital status and previous relationship. Dr. Nandipha Kudumana, a medical, okay, right. So they are basically repeating, but what they are trying to say is that it might have divorced the husband to be.
No, there's no record of that. Even the police confirmed it. Okay. There's no record yet.
All right.
Not yet.
Oh.
So, yeah. Where was I? She fought for the body, the
Sure.
bent body, the
As
bent beyond
a woman
recognition
who's
body.
married customarily.
Yes, claiming to
with,
be his wife.
Mm.
And then another thing is that the mother also came into the picture and said, but this
The
is
mother
my son.
of the son.
Of Thabo Bester.
Yes.
And then they did DNA tests on the mother and the body. And
yeah.
it wasn't a match. So the DNA did not match
Sure.
that of the bent body. And here's another interesting fact about this body that was bent beyond recognition.
Sure.
Is that after the autopsy was done on it, it revealed that the person was dead before the fire broke out.
The person has passed on before the fire.
So the person had passed on 2 days prior to the fire incident, and they had passed away because they were struck in the head. Apparently it was a head injury.
Okay. And then that didn't raise any spark with the facility management to say a person was in a solitary what is it called, solitary confinement, and all of a sudden the person is found with a head injury, I mean, passed on like that. After all that, there are a lot of questions that they were supposed to ask.
Well, the autopsy gave them everything. What they did after that is entirely something, unfortunately, we will never know. We don't know what measures they took afterwards. We really don't know, because the autopsy also revealed that this deceased body was 1.5 meters tall, while the person that claimed to be the body was 1.7 meters tall. And another thing that they found on the post-mortem, it also noted a strong smell of accelerant paraffin from the body's trachea and bronchi. So the whole body was charred, and the hands and the face were particularly badly burned. After the autopsy, the police docket relating to the matter was changed from the person ending themselves to murder. Hi, guys. It doesn't get any better.
It doesn't.
No. Dr. Nandipha, apparently, after that, she stopped fighting for the body. Okay? And then there was a picture taken of a man, a woman, and 2 kids shopping at Woolworths in Sandton. And this picture was sent to one of the persons on Twitter. I'm not sure if it's safe to reveal her identity because I don't want to put her at risk.
Okay.
This is a lot.
Yeah.
So she revealed that someone had sent her the picture, and then she had the picture to go and be tested at IT to see what date was the picture taken. And that picture was taken on the 30th of June 2022. That's last year. And it was approximately 2 months after the incident of someone burning in solitary confinement.
Okay.
And that picture looks like the same Thabo Bester with his hair grown. His hair has grown up and he put it up in a ponytail and he had a beard. That person looked like him to the T. And the person who took the picture, guess what, Mr. Anonymous?
Yeah.
They took the picture because they were curious about Dr. Nandipha's skin.
They wanted to know what she's
They
using.
wanted to know what she's using. In fact, that person was like suggesting an app for her aesthetic clinic. Because her skin just looked so good and amazing. And he was like, wow, I need to work with this lady. Turns out the person that Dr. Nandipha was with in the store with her children is Thabo Bester. Allegedly. 30th of June, guys, last year. I was so shook. I'm like, how can she...
If that was true.
If it's the case, how can she put and expose her children to someone that dangerous? How does that happen?
That's not...
But then now we're not going to do that. We're just going to narrate some of the details.
Yeah.
Another part of the detail of the story is that Dr. Nandipha's aesthetic clinic was started in 2017.
Okay.
So in 2017 is when she opened it and registered it. She did not only register this business, she registered multiple businesses, property business. She registered a property business. She registered a media company, allegedly.
Okay.
She registered also the third company that I'm forgetting. It's property
Traveling.
travel, a travel company. And obviously aesthetics was doing well. But then the other ones, the most interesting part about the property business is that the Instagram account allegedly was being run by Bester. Allegedly.
You know, there is a bit of there's a bit of, like, you know, when someone opens a traveling agent, there's that sort of correlation of things that are worse, that are about to come. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like,
The ability to help people travel,
yes,
to help people move out of the country.
People out of the country and move them in and all that. I guess. But yeah.
People were sharing DMs on Twitter, having conversations with this property company, and this person was just insisting on seeing them. Apparently, some people have been scammed by the property company, allegedly, and on top of that, he would suggest meetings, personal meetings, meet and greets, especially with female proposed clients. Allegedly. So he would insist on that. So people now are woke and they could tell that something is not right. There's a woman who conducted a Zoom meeting with the guy and took a screenshot of him, and it looks like Thabo Bester. This time around, he cut his hair. Allegedly. It looks like him, allegedly. He was driving, and the car that he's driving allegedly looks like one of Dr. Nandipha's cars. Allegedly. And speaking of cars, Mr. Anonymous.
Sure.
In 2020, she bought 3 luxurious cars.
Okay.
She bought a Range Rover Sport. She bought a what's the other one? A Ferrari. She also bought a Mercedes-Benz in 1 year. Apparently now she deleted the posts, but I managed to find one with the Mercedes-Benz.
All right.
But she deleted the other cars. She bought those cars. Allegedly.
And she was flashing them out
on Instagram.
on Instagram.
And thanking God. You know how they do.
Whoa.
Thank you, God, for your blessings.
That's deep. That's late. That's deep.
Well, that's what happened. But then, later on in the year, in 2022, the brother posted on social media. The brother was crying for help, literally asking people to help him. He was posting everywhere. He even tagged Times Live on Twitter and left his phone number. He was asking for help. He put up a very, very, very scary message, Mr. Anonymous. I'm trying to look for the DM right now.
And I'm sure he never got a call.
No, he never got a call back. Nobody contacted him to find out what was happening.
And I'm
it's
sure
only now,
it's
yeah,
been flooded.
maybe now the journalists are flooding his DMs and trying to call him and calling him because the story has now gone big. It's explosive now. Not only was she that, apparently she was also a GBV activist, Mr. Anonymous.
There you go.
I knew you were gonna like this one. Apparently, Dr. Nandipha had posted GBV. She was a GBV influencer as well, activist. So she was fighting for women's rights. Wamandla.
There you go.
Yes.
That's where you find them.
So she had put up multiple posts, stopping people from having GBV don't. You understand?
That's where you find them.
Mm-hmm. So I'm looking for that post of the brother where he was crying out for help, because I feel that it's very important that I read it. I might miss some of the information.
Yes,
I found it.
remember.
Here it is. Time. This is Dr. Nandipha's brother, Nkosinathi Sekeleni. Okay, he posted this last year because he was panicking.
Sure.
Time to name and shame, he said. Don't be fooled by her looks and charm. Very evil, this girl, Dr. Nandipha Sekeleni Magudumana. She is in daily contact with this monster by the name of Thabo Bester, once dubbed the Facebook grapist, okay, doing a life sentence in Groot Vlei. She even exposed her 2 little daughters to this monster. In the outside world, he goes by the name TK Nkwana. Apparently, he changed his identity from Thabo Thomas Bester to TK Nkwana. He was the sponsor of her event called #The Doctors Network and has been laundering money through her business, Optimum Medical Aesthetics. She has really dug herself into a hole. For a married man having an affair with such a low life as this, she is a shame to the Sekeleni family. with this country fighting GBV and corruption, we still have monsters like this operating on the outside while in prison. I have evidence in the form of recorded telephone calls. I'm posting this because 2 nights ago, a gunman tried and failed to kill me, my wife, and my child. And then afterwards, he went into hiding. I'm gonna say he went into hiding because he totally stopped posting on social media. So I'm hoping that wherever he is right now, he's safe and his family is safe. I'm just praying for that because
Kubi, kushushu.
And some people were even coming out on Twitter, Mr. Anonymous, saying that Dr. Nandipha works with this guy called TK. So this post from the brother confirms that he did use another name, TK. So Gutiwa, he would bring this guy around and they didn't know him and he would be around their children. So they are kind of worried about that.
Oops. Yes. One is the Facebook was saving life for yes.
So this story, guys, it's a mess. It's a lot. I kept going and going. I would find information, more information. I'd be depressed. I'd come back. I'd be, how did this happen? And the other interesting thing is that Dr. Nandipha said that she met Thabo Bester in 2006. And then they stopped communicating in 2011.
Sure.
So they went to their separate ways in 2011. And then they reconnected again in 2017. Mind you, 2017, he was sitting in the jail. He was sitting in the prison. Maximum security no hard. So she would travel from Sandton to Mangaung to visit him.
As an activist.
Allegedly.
Sure.
So she would travel to see him in the prison.
As a, man, these people.
A whole doctor. And she left. And there's also dodginess coming from her record in the HSPCA. People dug up and they are kind of confused, and so am I, with the record that they pulled up about her on the HSPCA website. I mean, it says terminated. Since 2011, she has been terminated. She hasn't been using her license since 2021. So I don't know what's happening with that. Why doesn't her license is not been active since then? Some people are saying maybe she didn't pay for her license for the year 2022. She stopped paying in 2021.
It would be very convenient.
It would be very convenient how?
In a sense that, I mean, if you are cancelled and you were doing something wrong, I don't think that will apply for you to be really fully cancelled forever. You know?
So you think this is all... Because think about it. If you get into trouble and you're not...
Part as yet. It's like when you get into trouble, you are already out. So that shouldn't be affecting your qualification. I would like to think you can argue that there's too much thinking, man, into everything. If really this thing falls into place, and there was, something like that, I mean, unless I'm dreaming, I'm still gonna wake up, and there's no such thing as that. Someone harboring someone of such interest.
Her license is not at risk.
I would like to think there's a way you can defend, even if they were to impose.
Because this is very interesting. It expired 31st of March 2021. And it had been active since the 15th of February 2017. And this is the independent medical practice practitioner. So it's for her to be independent, own her own medical facility.
Yeah.
And then prior to that, she was actually an intern. She was a medical practitioner in community service from January 2016 to February 2017. And then she terminated. It terminated apparently because the internship ended.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's what I'm hearing allegedly on the streets. And then she took on the independent medical practice practitioner license. And that one expired on 31st of March 2021. And then afterwards, she never renewed it. And then I thought to myself, but how is she able to operate a medical facility or a clinic without a license? And then I'm like, oh my God, you can run an aesthetic clinic without being a doctor. Allegedly. There are so many people who are doing it overseas, and even in South Africa, some have started. And then the thing about it is because you're not going to be operating on anyone, and you're dealing with beauty and skin and things of the outside, aesthetics. So you don't necessarily need to be a doctor to run such a facility. I don't know if I can be corrected in the comment section below for people who are in the medical field. I mean, even Sorisha from Rod has aesthetic clinics, doesn't she? Sorisha from Rod has a couple of aesthetic clinics.
I'm looking at this. The Minister of Police, Begitele, did answer a question about this when he was asked. Guess what? There hasn't been any confirmation of DNA up to this point.
Which DNA is he talking about?
That one of the body that was found there. And then he said he was going to discuss this with Minister of Justice and Correction Services, Ronald Lamola. And they go further to say that the team is already aware of all the information making rounds on the matter. He said. Christine Peary, spokesperson for Lamola, told the ground up the absence of the final investigation report made it difficult to answer the ground up's questions. I think that's a paper. This is a paper that I'm reading. If these reports are found to be true, this would prove to be the most sensational escape in the history of our nation, he said. The minister has instructed the national commissioner to do everything necessary to ensure that there is finality on the matter. It is unclear why more than 10 months after Bester supposedly passed away, there's still no public known result of DNA test that once and for all confirms whether they burnt the body, whether the body was burnt in the cell or something else.
Well, maybe he might be onto something because Ground Up did have a section on their blog and paper about how 10 months later, investigations by the South African Police Service and the Department of Correctional Services and the Judicial Inspectorate for Correctional Services are still incomplete. So although they did the autopsy, it seems like there's a blockage somewhere. You did about the SAPS in South Africa. They are very tricky. They are very tricky. Like, it's something that doesn't make sense. I mean, you can even see with the Senzo Meyiwa trial. It's a lot is going on. Like, a lot is going on.
Yep.
You can see
and
that
this,
somewhere.
I think this deserves a space on a crime story if indeed it is true. It deserves an Oscar or something. Something must be done about this thing if it really is true. And we would like to know more details. We have given you, I think, most of the details, but we would like to see them play.
I cannot believe this. I can't. I feel like it's a dream. It's a nightmare, actually. And you know cases of people being stolen are increasing.
Yeah.
If you are on the other social media platforms, I'm sure by now you've noticed how people are making videos about how they were almost stolen.
But even they wrote further, say that this paper has been able to verify at least one of those stories in which someone was asked to travel to Cape Town at their own cost to audition for a Netflix show. And our room holding doesn't have a working website. It last archived states in from 18 December to 18 December 2021, and according to its Instagram page, which was still active on the 16th of March, it appears to advertise high-end properties. A Room Holdings Ltd was registered with Companies and Intellectual Property Commission (CIPC) in 2017. Again, that's I think one of the companies that Makudumane was the sole director of.
Sole director. So she put her name on the line, honey. She put it all on the line. Her whole entire profession. And yes, she did study. I heard some people are wondering if she's even a real doctor. Well, I managed to dig up a little bit of some pictures of her graduation. So
Sure.
she did certainly study at Wits Medicine, and she did acquire her qualifications. But it's shocking to me about how she risked it all. Do you know how hard it is to study medicine?
So I mean, this was like the fight of the body when the High Court was approached was 2022.
Yes.
May 2022. Something
Yes.
recently, Mos.
Yes. So she even went to court to fight for that body. She wanted that body so badly. I wonder why. I wonder why she fought for that body, knowing very well what had happened allegedly.
And they use this room holdings to pay for the body.
Oh my God, it gets work. The plot thickens. So you're telling me that they used Arum Holdings, which is the property company, under Dr. Nandipha Makudumana's name to pay for the body to be transported from Mangaung in the Bloemfontein to Soweto.
And the same, another 3,600 was paid to that's a funeral that was Sopem Funerals from the account of Vita Push Pty Ltd. Magudumana's affidavit also shows that she made a number of payments between 400 and 2,000 to Bester while he was in prison.
He was even filling her book.
She also paid an amount of 7,203 to Damelin College, supposedly for a cause Bester was doing. Maguduma also director of media production company that creates multimedia content. Yo! An anonymous source who worked closely with media told the Ground Up that he had several videos meetings with the man who looked like Thabo Bester. These meetings happened while Bester was still in prison.
These meetings happened.
Alleged. It's alleged. Now we are talking. Let the games begin.
Yo, guys, I have a feeling that them Netflix people are gonna pick this one up.
Let the games begin.
Because wow, it shocketh me.
This is a fighter of
BV.
BV.
Wamandla. She's one of those.
Followed up with...
Not only that, she loves God. She would post about God and Bible verse. That's why sometimes I'm throwing shade at people who like doing that, because I know they're hiding something.
Oh, it's alleged.
No, hiding some.
It's still
if you're
alleged.
always posting Bible verses and trying to
All
be
right, guys.
a motivational speaker.
I think we delivered.
How did you do it? Oh, it's God's grace. uNkulunkulu uthanda wena kuphela.
Nkulunkulu nami. Guys, tell us what you think. You know,
Please share your
we
comments.
don't want
down
to say
below.
more.
Guys, I tried to unpack, ne? If I missed out anything, add it down in the comment section down below, because this story is a lot. It's too much. It is.
Let us give you a chance.
Guys, share your comments down below and tell us what you think about this whole Netflix special.
On the troll.
Until the next one, bye.